All right, welcome back to Mind and Magic. Today I want to talk a little bit about the tarot, specifically the major arcana. For those who don't know, the tarot is divided into two uneven halves, the minor and major arcanas. The minor arcana consisting of 56 cards, which closely resemble a deck of playing cards, with one extra court card each, and the major arcana consisting of 22 cards. The major arcana signifying events of some significance. Not to downplay the importance of the minor arcana, as they can be quite important, but it's widely believed that the major arcana cards are the more important cards, the trump cards, so to speak. But aside from the individual meanings that the cards are known for, the major arcana also has another difference between itself and the minor arcana. And that is they chronologically tell the story of the journey of those walking the magical path, some of the major stations in life that we will be traversing through. And we all start the path the same. We start as the Fool. So not only does the Fool card represent new beginnings, inexperience, and all the other meanings that we cover in the Advanced Tarot course, but it also represents us starting out on our magical path and those who are not on the magical path whatsoever. There are an awful lot of fools out there. Now, that's not to say that people are dumb. There is a difference between intelligence and knowledge. There is a difference between intelligence and wisdom. Now, knowledge comes from experience. And so the inexperience of the fool is not because they're dumb. It's not because they don't have intelligence. It's just that they're inexperienced. They haven't experienced it yet to have the knowledge of it. And wisdom is the ability to make good decisions based upon the current information and knowledge. And we know the fool has limited knowledge because they have limited experience. There's also a discernment factor involved with wisdom. But these things aren't necessarily tied to intelligence, which is more of a capacity for learning and problem solving. So when we start out as the fool on our magical journey, it's not saying that we're stupid. It's not saying that we're dumb. It's just saying that we don't have the experience yet. And because we don't have the experience, we don't have the knowledge, we don't yet have the wisdom. We're just starting out. And as such, we are the fool. And we remain that way until we have gone through the initiation process. And this is either with your magical group, your lodge, your coven, depending upon your tradition, or as a solo practitioner completing the initiation curriculum out of one of the self-initiation books, at which time you are no longer the fool. You have become the magician. The beginning of this journey in these first two cards really shows what a difference some experience can make. And that experience has brought forth knowledge, and now we're able to work magic effectively. We have an understanding of these things. We're no longer a newbie. We're no longer a fool. Now, wisdom will come later. Wisdom is further down this path. But just in a matter of one single card, it's a pretty big step up to go from fool to magician. The transformation process is that profound. And unfortunately, most people don't get past being the fool because most people don't get into magic. So they never start. And the ones that do, not all of them make it through initiation. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've said many times on this channel that magic is not for everyone. And some people who do believe that it's for them realize later on in the process of going through the neophyte grade that they're either not cut out for it or that it's completely different than what they thought it would be. And they realize that they're not going to be able to stick with it. And really is a wise decision for being honest with themselves. Now, there are some that refuse to let it go because their ego won't allow them to when they know deep down that it's not for them. And they're only sticking with it because they don't want to look bad by letting it go. And they're going to be in far worse shape than the one who realizes early on that the magical path is not for them. It's just better to not even go through the elemental grades and the transformative process than it is to go through it and then decide halfway through that it's not for them and quit. No one wants to end up worse than they started out. So I don't want to make it seem like not progressing past card 0, the Fool, is necessarily a bad thing. Everybody is different. Not everybody is suited for the magical path, and the ones who are suited for it, it doesn't make them better than the ones who aren't. I know a lot of magicians think they are, and there is a big problem with ego when it comes to magicians and other magical practitioners, especially early on at this stage. Losing the ego is a task for the magician and is typically done a little further down the line. But at this stage, you're really no different than an electrician or a plumber, just with the occult. It's specialized knowledge. And it's knowledge that you've acquired through experience, your curriculum, and your studies. So when talking about going from the Fool to the magician, I have to convey that it's not a bad thing to stay the Fool. I don't want people to get the idea that you're just a peon as the Fool, and then going to the magician, you're some grand wizard who lords over everybody. That's not what it means. It simply means that as a Fool, you're inexperienced, you don't have the knowledge, so you really don't know what you're talking about when it comes to magic. And as the magician, you do. You have the experience, you're able to now get things working to get results because you now have the know-how. And that's all it is. I don't want to put anybody down. But for those who know that this magical journey is right for them and stick with it, the profound transformative process that they go through is certainly worth it in my opinion. But this first step of the magical journey is one of the most difficult. To go from Fool to magician takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. It's not a simple task, nor does it happen overnight. The first step is one of the biggest steps because it takes considerable effort. So that's a little bit of insight into these 2 cards of the major arcana for those of you on the magical path. And if you enjoyed it, I cover the tarot even more extensively in the advanced tarot course, which I'll offer at 25% off through the links in this video and description only, where you'll get a lesson sent to your email inbox every week for an entire year. Also check out mindandmagick.com for even more programs and courses, and I'll see you next time. Take care.